And we're on another episode of the Game Time Decision podcast right before the holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Any holiday, we don't care here at Game Time Sports Network. Here with the full crew. That's a Christmas miracle in itself. Snow wasn't stopping anyone today. Happy to be here with Tyler, Mark, and Spin. I'm Chris again. Who wants to start off?
Let's get it going with the Patriots,
Good
per
afternoon,
usual. Good afternoon, Joe. So, your guys' thoughts on the win against the Denver Broncos? 16-3, I believe it was.
I have a
Defense playing
proclamation.
great.
That was a boring game.
I have a
Extremely
I was
boring
in New
game.
York. I was not to brag. I was at the Book of Mormon, and I had the Patriots game. And I was going. I'm like, because when I left, it was like 16-3, and it just stayed that score. So I'm like, all right, that's nice. But I have a proclamation. A few podcasts ago, I said the Patriots have a 0.0% chance of winning the Super Bowl.
What is it now, Joe?
0.1% chance of winning the Super Bowl.
What mathematics and
What
statistical
formula is this coming
analysis
from,
is
Joe?
going in?
What
Speaking
made
of
you
formulas,
change your mind?
I want to talk to you about something in a bit, but yeah, continue.
Well, basically, it's called the eyeball test. It's called spin tuition.
Oh,
Yeah.
spin
But Joe,
tuition.
their defense has played so much better in these last 2 weeks, and
these-
clearly the offense can score. I mean, not against the Denver Broncos defense at Denver, where has proved to be a tough place for Tom Brady.
And Brady still played very poorly.
I agree, but the defense showed that they could win a game without Tom Brady playing well.
I know exactly. That's
And
why
that's
I'm giving
exactly
them a
what they
shot.
did.
That's why I said they have a 1 in 1,000 shot of winning a Super Bowl.
1 in 1,000.
1 in 1,000. That's 0.1%.
That's a
I just
completely
don't. I don't
ridiculous
understand how you can say. Do you think they're the favorite in the AFC?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
how do you give them a 1 in 1,000?
Because I give them a
chance?
1 in 1,000 chance
Who-
of beating the
who's-
Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be the Seahawks in the Super Bowl.
You can't
I can
give them a
guarantee
one-
that. I can guarantee it'll be the Patriots, Seahawks, and the Seahawks will win.
To
It'll
be
by
honest
less
with
than a
you,
touchdown.
that just like angers me because we all know that that's not true. That's not the case at all.
It's called spin tuition.
So it's called just pessimistic. Being pessimistic.
Spin
Yeah,
tupity.
that's just a complete ridiculous
If
number.
you think they're gonna get there, they have a chance. And I'm not
I'm
really.
saying they have a chance.
My thoughts have
You
kind
just
of.
don't have
They
an
have a
argument.
big. They have a pretty big chance
Joe,
to be honest
you
with
just
you.
don't have an argument for a 1 in 1,000
And
shot.
I've kind of bounced back and forth with this over the last couple weeks, but now the team that scares me the most in the entire NFL is the Giants.
yes.
Are you sure it's not Alabama?
If the Patriots played the Giants
They
in the
could beat the
Super
Browns.
Bowl, that would be the biggest sports spectacle of the millennium.
I wouldn't watch
That
that.
would
More
be-
than the Cubs winning their first World Series.
That would even more.
How-
The NFL is
because-
king. The
yeah.
NFL is so
Wait,
much more
How
held
did
in
the
such a
Giants
higher
have
regard.
shot? I thought they were.
They're
like,
in the
fighting
wild.
for the
No, they're in the
card,
wild.
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're in the
okay,
wild
okay.
card.
Well, they've
They're
been
kind- yeah.
What are
very
they, 10
hot
and 4?
as of late.
They
They're-
10 and 4,
yeah,
right?
they're 10-4. but
I think they're definitely going to make the
Well, I'm gonna tell you
playoffs.
that, they will, but my problem is that the Giants have been too good all season to really win. Because if you look, whenever they go to the Super Bowl, they're usually 9 and 7. So and they get hot at the end. The problem is that they've been consistent all year, which means they don't really have that signature Giants thing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, spin tuition.
I think,
I think
over the
that
last
scares
couple
me
weeks
more,
they've
though.
heated up though. Like you can't say that they've been pretty good the whole year because early on they weren't.
Well, they're
They
10
weren't
and 4.
anything special. Yeah, but most of that I think they've won like 6 straight or something like that.
And this defense, out of the other two defenses that ended up holding their
This
own,
is the most like well-rounded.
more
to
than
be
held
honest
their
with
own
you.
in the 2007 Super Bowl against the Patriots.
I don't
Yeah.
see Michael Strahan, OCU Manure, Justin.
But their
Tuck,
secondary is
Joe.
probably the best
Yeah,
in the
no.
league.
What are they? Who's-
Janoris
Janoris
Jenkins,
Jenkins, Eli Apple,
DRC, Dominique Rodgers,
Landon
Cromartie.
Collins,
Yeah.
that safety,
Landon
he's
Collins is great.
unbelievable.
He
In the-
almost picked Brady
Look,
last
in the
year.
past 2 Super Bowl matchups between the two, they've had a really good front seven, obviously. But this year's team, they still have a pretty good front
Olivier
seven. But
Vernon.
the thing is, they're
That was
just
a
more,
great
they're
signing.
more well-rounded than they've been in a long
He's out for
time.
the
I
year,
just
right,
don't
though?
see this. I just can't see the Giants.
He has a club for a hand, so it doesn't really matter to begin with.
He's
but
out for the no. He's
I
having
think
a pretty
he,
good
I
year,
think he
though.
is out for the year, so that's obviously a big loss. But there's still a lot of big names on that defense that could cause problems for New England.
How
funny. Go ahead, Tyler.
So one thing to take away though from the Giants' resurgence is that they basically bought this defense. These are at least 2 of their better players in Olivier Vernon and Janoris Jenkins, 2 of the bigger defensive free agent signings from this past offseason. And their
DRC.
defense was
years
absolute
ago.
garbage last year. And now it's a top 10, top 5 defense. You saw the Broncos do the same
I was
thing
gonna
a
say,
couple
that's
years ago,
reminiscent
ended
of
up
the
winning a
Broncos.
Super Bowl. So you got to
Yeah.
look at the Patriots, who I believe in real money in the past 5 years
They're
or so,
30th.
they're 30th out of 32
Shout out
teams.
Doug Matz for that stat.
Yep, that's a great stat. So you got to look at them and say, you really got to spend some more money, because the thought beforehand was you can't spend all this money and hope for success, but there's two examples staring you right in the face in the Broncos and the Giants that it can work.
How much would it be like deja vu if you see Gronk come back in the Super Bowl was like a decoy and Brady throws a Hail Mary and that would just make me cry.
What running game do the Giants even have?
Their running game is invisible. It's really just
Non-existent.
defense. I saw a tweet: defense.
Running
Odell
game is
Beckham.
Odell Beckham.
irrelevant.
That's all their team is.
I don't know.
pretty much.
Like, yeah.
Running
But
game,
I don't see them getting
irrelevant.
past the semifinals.
once they get to the playoffs, Eli Manning can
He
pretty
shows
much
up. Yeah,
go off.
he plays. He
because
does.
you've seen him do in the past, and their defense is tremendous. So I mean, they're as good as anyone in the NFC.
Oh,
I've talked about how the Cowboys are another team that scare me, but the problem with the Cowboys is they can't get past the Giants. I mean, their only 2 losses this year have come against the Giants, so maybe if they match up again,
They are
the
desperate to play each
Giants
other
will take
again.
that one.
But
So
yeah.
then it's
I
don't
would it be
know.
a home game for Dallas?
Yeah, it would be.
So
That's true.
That's a factor.
here I just have one question for you guys. All right, let's say Patriots have the number 1 seed sewed up, going into Miami. Do you lose that game on purpose to try to keep Denver and Baltimore out of the playoffs?
Absolutely.
if you have the 1 seed, yeah,
If you have the 1 seed.
absolutely.
You don't purposely
You don't-
go
yeah,
for
you
it on
don't lose.
4th and
Yeah.
20 and all that
Do you
stuff,
pull
but
a-
you play
do-
your twos.
Do you do what you do last year? Do what you did last year in the final game where you just gave the ball to Steven Jackson 100 times?
I would sign Steven Jackson again
Yes,
just to make sure
absolutely.
nobody else gets hurt.
That's
Just feed
why
him the
it's so
ball.
important to win this game against the Jets, which they'll do easily. And
I don't
the-
think so.
You can't say easily because the
Hey,
Jets
every
always
ga-
play. The
every
Jets
game-
always
seen
play
the
close.
Jets lately.
Every
People were
game against
people
the
were
Jets.
saying that in week 11, I think.
Every
too.
game.
No, they
against-
were a good team last year. This year,
No,
they
week
are a
11
mess.
of week 11 of this year.
Oh, of this year, you mean?
And
Oh, I
Every
thought you
single
meant
game
last
against
year.
the Jets we play since the
Of
Buffalo game.
Any
It's
team
been
the
like
Pats
5
are
points.
playing this week, unless we could somehow get a game with the Browns, I think the Jets are who we want to play.
No, I completely disagree.
yeah.
I think there's a whole lot of teams I'd rather
I'd
play.
rather play the
guys,
Rams.
the Jets.
Niners.
This is a
No,
special.
obviously you're not going to play those teams, but like guys in your conference.
This is a special scenario with the Jets. They have never been this a mess in years. Did you see Sheldon Richardson in his
Yeah,
Snapchat
yeah, I saw
before
that.
the game
No, I didn't.
last week?
What happened?
He referred to
He-
asking where them hoes at before, and he said bleep this game. So I mean, they're just.
He wasn't playing.
Todd
He
Bowles
wasn't
has lost the
playing.
locker room completely.
He's getting some coal.
I mean, I know they said this about the Miami game last year, and Miami ended up beating the Patriots. But if you get on them early, you're up 10-14 nothing. They're gonna pack it in. They're gonna say let's go on and
No,
have Christmas
trust
Eve
me.
at my family's house.
The Jets aren't like that.
Whoa.
The
The
Jets,
Jets
when
would
they play
love.
the
They'd
Patriots-
love nothing more than to spoil the Patriots.
We'll
this
find
year.
out.
I don't know about these group of Jets
Well,
though.
even-
I really.
what's the spread,
Have you
17
seen
points?
Bryce Petty play
Yeah.
quarterback?
I don't
He
think
is
the
not
spread
going to beat
matters
them.
there. People
It's-
said the same thing about Fitzpatrick going into the game, and he played pretty well that game. They almost pulled it out.
Well, it's
You
why.
never know.
Nevertheless, it's why they have to win this game, and they need Oakland to lose because then they can just rest their starters, do whatever they have to do in Week 17. You don't have to worry about going down to Miami and winning, which they've had so much problems doing in the past. So.
Okay, that's the stuff. So,
So,
can I ask Spin Tuition here, Mr. Spin Tuition? I heard you were talking about a little stat that
Yes.
you decided to conduct, discover, invent. I don't know what you want to call it, but you want to elaborate on that a bit?
I don't have my notes with me. I did a whole calculation to
Oh
get.
wow, you actually pulled some notes.
is there a blog coming out about
You were a
this?
no
There
notes
might
guy,
be. I am a no notes guy,
and
but
here we got some notes.
I don't have them on me right now. At my house because I wanted to see the validity of it. I was thinking, I was watching TV and they're talking about quarterbacks and rankings and yada yada yada, and I'm like, what is the singular best stat to measure a quarterback?
You know what he's doing? He's gonna find like a way to make it look like Kirk Cousins is like the best quarterback. He's gonna like the way he calculates.
You already
everything.
know that's what's coming.
It's gonna
Yep.
be like when he plugs the numbers in. Kirk Cousins
gonna
is
spin
gonna be
zone
like
it.
at the top.
Let's hear it.
That is simply not true, actually.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins was actually like probably like I did it off of last year to get like a
So
full season.
what's
All
your
right, continue.
formula?
Continue.
Okay, I'm patenting this, so don't steal it.
Call the government.
You heard it here first. It's called the spin stat. So far, tentative. That's the name so far.
Can you name stats after people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can name a stat, whatever you want to name it.
The Carmelo rankings, the whatever, I don't know. There's everything.
All right.
Okay,
Continue.
the spin stat. Let's hear
Continue.
it.
Spin stat. Okay. So I take passer rating plus touchdowns multiplied by 4 plus yards divided by 40
Huh.
subtracting interceptions times 10. And the way I came up with that formula
The 40, the 4, and the 10.
Yeah.
is because I want to keep everything like based off of 100. The
But-
average passer rating for a good quarterback, they should try to strive for a passer rating of 100. A good quarterback, I want to keep it easy numbers. So 25 touchdowns for a quarterback. That is so 25 times 10. 25 times 4. That's why I have the 4. That's the constant. That is 100. A good quarterback throws for about 4,000 yards. That's why I got the divide by 40. And then interceptions, quarterbacks try to throw 10 or less, but I kept 10 as a pretty even number.
So there's a few like subjectively chosen numbers here and there.
Yeah.
But it'll.
But I did the rankings, and if you look at based on how quarterbacks played last year, it's pretty good. I'm going to keep working on it. We're on Christmas break. Don't have that much homework. So I'm going to do like the past, 5-6 seasons and see how
What
well
turns out, huh?
And then try to find a league average. So there'll be a blog or coming out in the next few days. I'll run it by.
Yeah, make a little spreadsheet.
I'm inept with that. I do everything by hand. But
you know who to talk to.
Miss Harris.
shout out Micheline Harris.
We know you're listening.
So, but basically,
We know you are.
and
you too.
yes, and another thing, little plug. I will be doing a baseball show with some other friends.
Oh yeah, we got some Harvard kids coming. in,
Yeah, my friend
some
Jack from
statisticians.
Harvard, my friend Dom from BC, and
Del
my
Piana.
friend Chris Del Piana who at Providence.
Some smarties,
Yeah, some smart kids.
some Boston smarties. Yeah, that should be
So,
good.
just a little plug for that. We might be talking about this stat, talk about some baseball. So stay tuned for that within the next coming weeks.
Great.
All
What's
right.
that?
It's a Christmas
One more
present.
thing before we move on from the Patriots. What do you guys think about Michael Floyd? Should he be cut after the information came out that he had a .21 blood alcohol content when driving the car? Do you think he should be kept on, try to help contribute? What do you guys think?
I've said this before, and I'm going to continue to stress it, that obviously criminal activities are a terrible thing. And Michael Floyd should be prosecuted as a criminal, and he should be treated just like any other man as a criminal. But I think football should be separate. So the law will decide what they want to do, just like the Patriots will decide what they want to do. And I think those things should be left alone.
I agree. Mark?
I want to say I follow a similar path that Chris just kind of laid out there, but I kind of wrote about this, that the potential impact a player like Michael Floyd could have on the Patriots offense, but after him not even stressing last week, I don't really know if he will have a big impact at all to begin with. I mean, he was signed with 3 weeks left in the regular season, and obviously coming to the Patriots, it's a very difficult offense to learn. A lot of receivers have had issues with it, and Michael Floyd did play at Notre Dame under Charlie Weiss, who was Belichick's offensive coordinator during his first 4 years in New England. So Floyd does kind of know some of the terminology that is used in this offense, but as time just continues to move
Interesting
on,
fact. I
and
didn't know that.
I'm just becoming more and more wary of the impact he could even have, if he even plays, for that matter, to begin with. So accounting for all the criminal activity, I think you should just cut him. Move on.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think Bill Belichick is stupid? You think Bill Belichick didn't know the ramifications of what he was getting into and he picked a guy off waivers? I mean, is there any guy more cognizant of everything that's going around with his team than Bill Belichick? Belichick knew what was happening. He knew that Gronk was out. He knew Amendola was probably going to be out for the foreseeable future. And he saw a guy, he took a flyer on him. So why not? I hate to say it. I'm the type of guy where I believe in winning at all costs. So if Aaron Hernandez wasn't in jail, I would keep Aaron Hernandez on my team. That's how much
That's kind of a stretch.
No,
Murder is
No, I don't
murder
care.
and
I don't
all
care.
their crimes.
I get how you can say that about a guy with a DUI,
No.
but
Aaron-
a multiple
Aaron Hernandez
multiple
should be
time
locked
convicted
up.
murderer is
Okay,
a problem.
but let's say he was acquitted. I would keep him on my team. If OJ was still playing and
Well, if he was acquitted, that would mean that he was not guilty.
OJ
Big difference.
OJ was acquitted, but he still did it, obviously.
And did he play football after that?
No, but I would have signed him.
no.
I still would have signed him. Obviously, he did it after he retired and stuff. But
There's this thing about the Patriots. It's the whole Patriot way thing.
way.
So, and yes, they've never really came out and said like, "Oh, I'm against DUI. I'll never sign a player with the DUI." So they really aren't crossing any boundaries that they've already set for
Not
themselves.
setting a double standard. or
Yeah.
anything, yeah.
So they really haven't said like DUIs are just not happening here. If that happens to you, you're gone. So they technically aren't breaking the Patriot way, but the kind of the thoughts or what other people think about the Patriot way is it's kind of this glorious thing where we have all these great players, great people, yada, yada, yada. And then you see a guy like Michael Floyd come in and I don't know. People are starting to, even in New England, people are starting to have mixed emotions about that.
This video makes no difference. We knew he was asleep even before the video came out. We knew he was asleep behind the wheel, and he was charged with DUI, which he also was in 2011 when he was in college. It's nothing that we don't know.
Well,
does the ultra high that's like the super DUI or super positive whatever DUI being over .20? I don't care.
Let the court worry about it.
Let the court worry about it. If he can go out there and help your team win football games with the best offensive player in football who's on your team who's out for the rest of the year and another very solid receiver out, going back to the Miami game, if we have everything sewn up, wouldn't that be the perfect game to try to get Michael Floyd integrated into the system?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It would be if they still have him.
I think.
Do you think they'll have him by that time?
As long as the court, because they say,
We'll see.
according to Arizona state law, if you have it's called like a super DUI, something like that, some like sort of terminology.
It's just a heavier intensity of.
Yeah, if you have a blood alcohol content of over 0.15, and he was at 2.217.
Yeah, he was
0.217.
He was trash.
You can get 45. You can get immediately no bail, 45 days in prison. But you know how long it takes to get like court hearings and all that. So and the Super Bowl's in February, so we have a month.
And all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff.
So I'm saying as long as he's not put in jail, and as long as he doesn't like completely destroy the locker room, he'll be on the Patriots. And I think he could be a difference maker and catch a few balls.
Definitely. I think he could definitely be a red zone threat.
He'd be better than
6'3".
Chad Ochocinco was in the Super Bowl against the Giants with Gronk playing that decoy role.
Yeah. So I definitely think he could maybe contribute down the road in the playoffs.
Extremely
and
talented.
As
Great
long as
size.
he's not in jail, then I'd definitely keep him on the team.
Imagine if they win the Super Bowl, then like 3 days later you hear he just gets arrested. I think I'd find that pretty funny.
That'd be glorious. Have him catch a touchdown.
Well, yeah, I want everyone to. I want it to be clear that we here don't support criminal activity, but
as long as you're good.
We support the Patriots. Put
We
it that way.
support the Patriots,
Put it
and-
that way.
And if you're passed out behind the wheel, but you can catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl, we'll take you.
well,
I will. I'll take you.
All right.
If you
we're
want
not
to
going to
kill
condone his actions.
Let's
Let's
move
just leave it
on
at that.
to the Celtics in the NBA. So the
Oh,
Celtics.
wait, let me interrupt. Yeah, another week without the double dribble. Sorry, Rufo. Sorry, everyone else. We know shop is busy. It's Christmas season.
We know that loyal group of fans that listen every week are pretty disappointed, but
And
still have a few in the
we're just
archives.
as disappointed too. I mean,
Yeah.
I love this show. But continue, Tyler.
so the Celtics currently sit at 16-12. They're third in the East, I believe.
Correct.
So the topic of discussion lately, as DeMarcus Cousins has been in the news a lot for his rather high temper and erratic behavior. Do the Celtics need to trade for DeMarcus Cousins? Joe, start with you.
I think we know the answer to this.
I can say with an unequivocal abso-frickin-lutely, the Boston Celtics need
Wow.
DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins.
He is a top 5 talent in the league. He's a top 10 player flat out. If I could describe DeMarcus Cousins in one word, his personality, not his play on the court, is misunderstood. He was put in a terrible situation from the get-go in a terrible organization.
Sorry.
I've seen things of
Stay up,
him.
Sacramento.
I heard he donated $1 million to help cops and the African American community come together after all like this whole controversy with with cops gunning down young African Americans. But he's tried to rebuild relationships between that community and law enforcement. He's given toys to so many kids in the
Yeah,
Sacramento
he's a
area.
great guy off the court.
Yeah, and you know what?
I can understand his frustration. Totally.
He's never been on a. Who's the best
And we
player
were-
who's ever
and
been?
y-
who's
last
ever
week-
played?
Rudy Gay
Joe,
or
Rudy
Isaiah
Gay.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Joe, we were talking about the guy who was like bragging this dude's brother. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, misunderstood is a good way to put it.
You get him in a stable organization on a solid team with a good coach,
He
and
will
that's
exceed.
and he will flourish. He will thrive.
Perfect.
Especially with the guy. That's why I think Al Horford is so good because I heard Tony Maz and a lot of people who doubt DeMarcus Cousins. They say you can't win if he's your best player because he'll create the culture. I think there's a difference between being the team leader and being the most talented player on the team. Because towards the very end of those Celtics runs, after we won the championship, Kevin Garnett wasn't the most talented player, but he was still the team leader.
Yeah.
Al Horford might not be as good as DeMarcus Cousins, but he can be he can lead by example and show what it means to be a solid professional.
And I think it's also different when your culture is already set up as a playoff team with a good history like the Celtics. When you're bringing DeMarcus Cousins onto a team like that, where there's already a foundation of good players, where regardless of DeMarcus Cousins coming, you're still going to be in the playoffs. Whereas if you're trading for DeMarcus Cousins and you're a borderline playoff team or out of the playoffs, then he comes in, sets your whole culture up. I think instead of maybe a team like, even a team in the playoffs like the Hornets with no real identity as a historically great franchise or an identifiable coach or players that are already set up as leaders, when you trade for someone like DeMarcus Cousins, like with a team like the Celtics, where you already have leaders in place, you already have a good foundation, a good structure, then I don't think that he changes the culture too much, and that he will adapt and he'll thrive, like you said. And I definitely think he would be, in the right situation, he is maybe an MVP candidate.
Absolutely. He's third in the league in scoring. He has 30 points a game. He's shooting 78% from the free throw line, 37% from three. What more can you want from a guy who's 6'11" and 270? And one thing I would like to say, what made my week, the Nets beating the 76ers by 1 point. Oh, no, the 76ers beating the Nets by 1 point. My bad.
They did? I didn't see that.
The 76ers lost. No,
The Nets are starting to slide, right?
The Nets are sliding.
Have they lost four in a row?
They lost to the 76ers, and they lost to the Lakers.
Oh, they lost to the Lakers too?
And to the 76ers. And they played the Raptors. Now they have 2 games in a row, tonight and tomorrow, versus the Warriors and Cavs.
Wow. Poor Nets.
The Mavericks won last night, so now the Nets are in sole possession of the worst record, of the second worst
Celtics.
record.
Let's go.
Wow.
And then they play Philly on the 8th, and that's a huge game because
and
they're tied in the loss column with the 76ers, and if they lose tonight, they'll be tied for the worst record in the NBA.
Wow.
Do you know what DeMarcus Cousins' contract situation is?
He'll be a free agent after the 2018
Yeah, 2 more years.
But the new CBA is huge because it allows all, like, if you have like a guy who if you look at the new CBA,
who's already on your team,
it's like bird rights on steroids. The way the NBA is set up is if a player on your team from the previous year is going into free agency, you can offer them an extra year and an extra, like, I don't know, $4 or $5 million per year. Well, now what they're doing is it's called like the Kevin Durant clause is what it's called, not like officially, but that's what it's trying to prevent stuff like that. Where if you have like a player who's like I think it's like top 10 in MVP voting or an All NBA player or an All Star,
someone good.
So it's kind of like the Supermax in a way.
Yeah, and like you could, like, they're saying like Steph Curry, his like max deal if he wins MVP could be like $45 million per year.
Jeez.
That's the way. So it's trying to help teams retain their superstars. So if the Celtics were to trade for a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, they could be able to bid far and away, and it wouldn't really go against the cap that much because you can exceed the cap like that.
So what do you think the Kings would take for DeMarcus? Like a couple Nets picks maybe, and get rid of those, and
I'd say
Avery Bradley type of thing.
Avery Bradley,
something like that,
because he could be a max player and he's not worth it. So I would say I would trade Avery Bradley. He's going to be a free agent after 2018 as well. I'd say Avery Bradley, Jaylen Brown, and a Nets. I try to only part with 1 Nets pick.
that wouldn't be enough.
You'd have to do 2.
I think
If you're doing Bradley, Brown, if it's just Bradley and Brown, you'd have to give both, no doubt.
Bradley, Brown.
You'd maybe like a Smart or like
Bradley, Brown, Smart.
And
You'd
a
have
Nets
to trade Amir Johnson to match salaries.
yeah.
And plus he's he's
Awful anyway.
Or
He's
Tyler
so bad.
Zeller, one of those guys, because they both have non-guaranteed deals and they can match salaries. So I would go Bradley, Smart, Jaylen Brown, a Nets pick, and then maybe throw in like a Grizzlies pick or a Clippers pick or one of our own picks.
Okay.
I would try to keep but if worst came to worst, I'd trade the 2 Brooklyn
Regardless of the endless hypotheticals that we could do with all these trades, let's say you get DeMarcus Cousins, you acquire him in a trade, and you still have Isaiah Thomas, you still have Al Horford, and you still have Jay Crowder on your team. Could you upset the Cavs in a series to go to the NBA Finals? Mark, what do you think?
I don't know. If you have to trade both Smart and Bradley, who's your starting 2 guard?
Terry Rozier.
But
that's a pretty big problem.
Let's just say, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that you trade either Marcus Smart or Avery Bradley.
I think it could happen.
Well, I'd have to see what the trade is before I say if they could beat them. Because hypothetically, if you have Cousins, Horford, Crowder and Thomas. That's obviously a lot of top end.
Those
talent.
are the givens, and then
that's a lot of top
anyone
end
else who
talent.
isn't
But I don't.
traded.
I don't think that team would
But
be deep enough.
You know
at
what?
all.
You know where it would come in where we beat the Cavs after next year when we sign Gordon Hayward. Then because
Could you do that? Though?
yeah, we could because don't forget, bird rights allow you to go over the cap, and so you sign Hayward after this year, and then after
Yeah, that would
next
make
year,
sense.
that's when Cousins and Thomas come up, and then you can offer them the bird rights, and that's how you can go over the cap and still retain your players.
All
and
right.
Jay Crowder still has 4 years left at $7 million per.
And
you'd
who
be-
knows what those
That's a steal of
what
a
the super
contract.
teams will look like in that.
Yeah, you'd be looking at a team of Isaiah Thomas, probably Hayward at the 2, Crowder, Horford, Cousins. And
That's
then-
a good starting lineup.
Sure.
There's
and
no
you'd
doubt
s-
about it.
And you'd still have
obviously, but
Rozier.
anything can happen.
to beat a
Yeah.
LeBron James-led Cleveland Cavaliers, you need to have a starting lineup looking like that, and you need to be very deep.
And not to
I
mention
have
this,
a lot of questions about how
after
deep
next
that team
year,
could
LeBron
be.
will be 33 years old. And I think if you add Gordon Hayward and DeMarcus Cousins onto this team and add another year or two onto LeBron, you're looking at something that could be special. And I think that team would destroy the Golden State Warriors. Because the Golden State Warriors,
With that knowledge, you're kind of just saying, like, if we zig when they zag, we should destroy them. And you don't really know, because if their shooting if they get hot, if their big four gets hot, it's pretty much impossible
who
to beat
is
them.
Zaza Pachulia and David West going to stop Al Horford and DeMarcus Cousins down low?
3 points are worth more than 2.
I think the Warriors need a little Allen Kaufman chemistry.
It would be a close series, obviously, but as I just said,
Something-
if
yeah.
those guys get hot, there's nothing you can do about it.
You need the depth.
So another trade rumor. Forget DeMarcus Cousins for a second.
Sorry.
Not as much of a big splash, but a guy like Nerlens Noel on the Philadelphia 76ers, a lot of trade speculation with him. Would you guys do something like not one of the Nets picks,
Marcus
but
Smart.
another one? Yeah, let's say Marcus Smart
No.
for Nerlens Noel.
Nerlens
No?
Noel-
I
Noel's-
wouldn't either.
You know why?
I like Nerlens Noel.
I think I know what you're going to
we're-
say, and I think I'm going to agree with it.
Okay, worst comes to worst. The problem is his value is so low, we could steal him for even less than Marcus Smart. He's playing, I think, like 6 minutes per game this month.
He's been in and out of the rotation. He's played
he's
8
been-
minutes. He didn't play at all. He played 7 minutes.
And he's
he
been
didn't play at all.
complaining, so
Yeah.
his value is even lower than a Marcus Smart. I think maybe James Young could snatch him.
No
that
way.
no.
No,
It's going to take.
I-
But
Marcus
so,
Smart.
Joe, you would trade for Nerlens Noel?
Why? I wouldn't overextend myself, but if you can, I honestly think you could get him for the Grizzlies pick because that is how low he is valued right now.
Is the Grizzlies pick from Jeff
20
Green?
Jeff
yeah,
Green, 2019.
Yep. So a guy
Mark-
like Noel, I've said this a couple times. It doesn't move the needle for you. You aren't beating the Cavs. You aren't like. You're still
I
neck
agree.
you're still neck and neck with the Raptors, and then I think you have to sign Noel this offseason.
He's an upgrade from.
You have to sign
Amir
Noel this
Johnson,
offseason,
though.
and we've talked multiple times now. If you sign, like, he could get a max close to it, just based on his skill, his past. If you sign a guy like Noel, Bradley, that whole collection of players, if any of those guys get a max, you strap yourself to mediocrity.
But here's what I'm saying: if the price goes that low, because it could be going that low, because Philly realizes that he's going to be a free agent, I think that they would take a flyer and say, "Screw it, we'll take the 2019 Memphis pick. Hope it's in a mid-first rounder, and we'll cut our losses rather than have them just complain and leave for the rest of the year." Oh, is that not?
No. The
We'll bleep
verb
that-
is
we'll-
fine.
we'll
The
bleep
verb
that
is
out.
fine.
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah, the verb is
Put a
fine.
bleep.
That's what I'm saying. I think we could get him for a Terry Rozier. I think if we offer Terry Rozier right now, we could get no one's knowing.
Hi, Quincy.
Quincy.
Okay, so Tyler, anything else?
I don't believe so. No. You guys have anything else to touch upon with the Celtics? All right,
I do not.
moving on.
Christmas segment?
Red Sox.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of a trade, parting ways with Clay Buchholz on the Red Sox for the past 8 years,
10.
7 years?
10.
No way.
2007.
Yeah.
He made his
Didn't it
debut.
feel like last week that he
Wow.
threw that no hitter?
I remember
That
it was
is
like yesterday.
unbelievable.
September 1st, 2007. Clay Buchholz threw
His
that
second
no-hitter.
start ever.
I went to the game the day before. I always remember that. I went to the game before Clay Buchholz threw his no-hitter, and then the year after, I went to the game the day before John Lester threw his no-hitter.
That's unbelievable. But anyway, they trade him for next to nothing, just trying to get rid of his salary. And there's also a log jam for pitchers. Guys, what do you think on this trade?
I wrote an article about this, and I am furious because I hate Dave Dombrowski, and I hate his way of thinking, and I think he sucks.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a sadistic twist in that article.
So here's what I'm saying. the starting pitching market was so low. I think the consensus agreement was that the best pitchers on the market this year were Jeremy Hellickson and Ivan Nova, comparable pitchers to Clay Buchholz, and they would probably get maybe a little bit
Did
more
Hellickson
money.
get signed yet?
Let me check that.
He got a qualifying. He accepted the qualifying offer.
He's getting $17 million, Jeremy Hellickson.
Oh.
I liked when you said that Buchholz was like, he's inconsistently consistent, or the other way, he's
the most inconsistent. He's the most consistent, inconsistent pitcher.
Right, and you're gonna say like he's gonna have 2 good months, 2 bad months, and 2 months on the DL, which I think is a very fair analysis.
Yeah. Tell me if you guys agree with this. Clay Buchholz during the season is inconsistent, but over the 6-month season, you'll get 2 months of excellent pitching, 2 months of terrible pitching, and 2 months on the DL. Every year, you're getting that from Clay Buchholz. And I saw the stat yesterday. His ERA was almost 6 in the first half, and it was 3.22 in the second half. I think basically what I would have done, I'm not against trading him per se, but why not have just waited a little bit longer? We're only in December. Wait till we get to spring training. Wait till everything settles out. Wait till maybe Quintana's traded. Wait till Ivan Nova or any other mid-level pitcher is signed. Wait till maybe an injury happens. Maybe the Marlins, they said, were interested. The Mariners. Wait till a team like that.
Yeah, the Marlins wouldn't eat his entire contract, so they looked elsewhere. Yeah. That's what I heard.
Wait till, I don't know, maybe Hisashi Iwakuma on the Mariners gets hurt. They traded Taijuan Walker. Wait till something like that happens in February and March, and then you might be able to recoup an asset. And so what? You're the Boston Red Sox. He's making $13 million. If you have to take on $7 million and you can get back not a top-end prospect, but someone better than
decent prospect.
Someone who's
maybe the Sox
30.
are still shopping and they want to make sure they have assured themselves that they have money to spend, not waiting. You know what I mean?
The prospect that they got for him is a bum, right?
Yeah, he's a 5'9",
Tobias,
second yeah, Josh Tobias.
Tobias.
I didn't know who he was. I had to look him up.
That's surprising.
But yeah, and who's more of a nerd when it comes to that stuff than I am? He's not in Philadelphia's top 30. He's a 5'9" second baseman / DH who's 24 years old.
Well, welcome to Boston, Josh.
Yeah. But basically, if you're so concerned about the salary, it was a team option. Why pick it up? That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
That's why they said get rid of him as soon as we can.
Why pick up his option though? Like, just let him walk for the $13 million. But I believe I saw that the Red Sox are now at. They're only like $4 million over the luxury tax. So even if they ate $7 million, they still would have been $3 million
under. Yeah.
So why not eat something and get it back? But my thing would be to trade Drew Pomeranz, and I think he still has some value. You're not going to get back an Anderson Espinoza, but you trade him, and you could get. I think you get a top 100 prospect, considering how thin the pitching market is. Considering he has a great deal. The problem is, and I wrote this, is that Dave Dombrowski doesn't want to admit he was on the losing end of a trade, especially since he could have rescinded the Pomeranz trade, because the Marlins rescinded a trade. I think it was for Andrew Kashner, because the Padres were withholding medical information. So the MLB says, all right, you can switch the trade and you can reverse it, and Dombrowski said no. So he doesn't want to admit defeat by trading Pomeranz for less than what he gave up for him in July. So I don't know. I think we could have gotten something decent, but that's Dombrowski.
I've had it with all this Clay Buchholz talk. I've been, like, for the last 10 years, I mean, he's pissed off more people in Boston than any pitcher ever has. And I've said for a long time now, I will trade him for a bucket of balls. Because, let's just face it, like, he's not good. You can say
not good?
People still talk about his stupid potential. The guy's 33 years old.
Okay.
He's the only person over 30 we've ever heard the word potential even associated
What about Koji?
with.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
He's over 40.
Okay.
That's a different
I know the
area.
answer to this. What do you think Buchholz's career ERA is? Mark, what do you think?
I really don't even care.
What do you
Just
think?
Get him out of
Probably
here.
high threes.
3.96. You're telling me a 3.96 ERA guy coming out of the bullpen doesn't have at least some value? I'm not saying don't trade him. I'm saying don't give him away on a 1-year deal at a reasonable salary.
And then look, Tony Maz. I mean, he said for so many years now, you have to get rid of Buchholz. You have to get rid of Buchholz.
I know, and now he's saying that he doesn't
the second the deal
like
goes
it.
down, he's like, this is a mistake.
It was.
It can't be a mistake. It's Clay Buchholz. He's the number 8 starter. He's not going to have an impact on this team. He's not going to have an impact on the Phillies.
You're telling me
get him out of here.
You're telling me that he
I'm
couldn't
done
have
with
fetched you more than a guy who was at the consensus is that he's useless. That's what Josh Tobias is. Josh Tobias is useless. That we literally got a bucket of balls.
I'm not upset
I love it.
at the
I love
fact
it.
that they traded Clay Buchholz. I'm upset at the fact that they got nothing in return.
Yeah, like they could have waited until the season started, see how Clay pitched at the beginning of the year. But at that point, he could have done great. He could have done.
He could be on the DL.
But you couldn't have gotten anything worse. You couldn't have gotten anything worse for him.
I think part of the thinking behind this deal is sending him to a team like Philadelphia. You know that's not going to come back to bite you.
But you know, I can
Because
guarantee you he'll pitch well.
A fear for the Red Sox about dealing Buchholz for a while now is you don't want to send him somewhere and then see him be this pitcher that people are like, oh, you don't want to deal Buchholz because he could turn in, he could be a really good pitcher. So they didn't want to send him somewhere and see him do that. But just send him to Philadelphia in the last year of his deal. It doesn't really matter if he pitches well because it's not going to the Phillies aren't going to scare
They
anybody.
could sign him back.
No, I'm so done with him.
Here is my second proclamation.
I've had it with him.
Clay Buchholz will pitch at least 150 innings and will have an ERA of 3.5 or lower. That is my proclamation.
I'm going to predict right now the Phillies trade him at the deadline.
And
it might be for more than a Josh Tobias if he's pitching well, which I think he will because he's in the National League on a team
pitching
that really
on an
has,
irrelevant team
that has no expectations at all, similar to Drew Pomeranz was last year. Then he's going to get traded to a playoff contender, and then he'll be the Clay Buchholz we all know and love.
I'm going to predict Buchholz is going to pitch like 6 or 7 games, blow out his elbow, come back 3 months later, and get moved to a relief pitcher. And then
he doesn't want to be a relief pitcher, though.
Sorry, Clay.
That's the like.
If he was
here, like. Yeah, obviously he came out of the bullpen for a bit last year, and if he stayed in Boston, he would have had to come out of the bullpen to start the year. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah, but are you confident that all the surplus of pitchers that we have are going to stay healthy? Are you confident Pomeranz can make it through a year? Rodriguez, right? I mean, other than Price,
you
obviously,
you obviously need more than 5 starters a year. That's just a fact. All 5 starters aren't going to make it through a full season. But we still have Stephen Wright. You still have a Drew Pomeranz. You still have guys like Brian Johnson down in the minors who could come in
Joe Kelly.
Joe Kelly for one start here and there. You don't need Clay Buchholz. Get him out of here. It's time to move on, and I'm happy they did.
That segues us into the next topic. Do you guys think the Red Sox are done? Do you think they need to make any more moves? Will they make any more moves? Joe, what do you think?
One guy that I have my eye on is Jose Bautista. Webb's making a cringy face right now.
Ugh.
Here's what I'm saying.
You're crazy.
Jose Bautista's value is so low that I think we could scoop him up for less than a qualifying offer.
Jackie Bradley Jr.?
What would that be?
I think we could get him for 1 year, $15 million.
No way.
Honestly, yes.
What is he asking for?
We don't know. We know going into last year he wanted 4 years, 25, 4 years, 100, or 5 years, 125, and then he sucked, and now he's 36.
If they could get him on a 1 year deal for less than
million?
For less than $20 million, I would definitely consider signing him. But I thought that he would be asking for more.
Do you
than
still
that.
want them to dump Jackie Bradley?
If we can get if we can get something good, why not?
Okay.
Here's what I'm saying. Adam Eaton got the White Sox. The number 3 prospect in baseball, the number 38 prospect in baseball, and another first-round pick pitcher.
Who knows what
Jackie Bradley Jr. could fetch you something like that.
He could.
And he could rebuild a very...
I like him.
Oh, my God. He can't hit. Take 2 months out of his career. Take those 2 months out.
And he stinks.
And he's a 210 hitter.
Also, did you guys hear the report that Edwin Encarnacion has 6 teams on the table with a multi-year offer? You think the Red Sox are one of those teams?
That's not true.
The Red Sox aren't.
I don't think that's true. I don't think he has 6 offers because he would have
I
accepted
think
them if they were anything
the
good.
Indians are one of those teams.
I think
maybe he's mulling over all
Here's
of
what I
them.
think is going to happen with him. Similar to what happened with Yoenis Cespedes last offseason. He's going to sign maybe 3 years, around $60 million, with an opt-out after the 1 year, just so he can re-enter next year and try to get the money that he was hoping for coming in. And, I mean, logically speaking, really the only fit is the Cleveland Indians. Because they lost Mike Napoli. They still think they can win.
Who did Mike Napoli sign with?
He's still a free agent. I don't know why they just don't bring him back, to be honest with you.
I
he was
don't know.
solid last year.
I don't
for
trust
them.
Napoli anymore.
He
He's
just-
going to be
maybe he just
35.
doesn't
He's old, but, I mean, he played very well last season for them. And a lot of people have said he was a very integral part of that clubhouse.
Yeah.
Dustin Pedroia called up Terry Francona and said, sign this guy. So that was the reason. That was one of the reasons why he went.
He went to Cleveland. So
That's your boy, Chris.
I do like Terry Francona
because
a lot.
Cleveland, obviously, they just lost in the World Series, and they
wanna go
still
out.
they
They wanna
still
go out and
pretty
win it.
much have the same roster. So,
I'd love to see
but
them.
without a guy like a Napoli or an Encarnacion, I just don't see it happening. And they're a small market team. They don't like to spend money, but
Yeah, I mean,
I think this is the year that they're going to have to do it.
I think Cleveland has a lot of developmental work to do. I mean, yes, they could go for some guys here and there, but they need to improve internally. I'd love to see my boy Josh Tomlin go out there and take that number 4 rotation spot, but we'll see how that is. We've been talking chit-chatting for a while here. I think someone here mentioned a little special seasonal segment.
Oh yeah. So, if we do this for a decade, we'll do it every time around Christmas. But we don't know how long we'll go with this. But anyway, so we get some Christmas segments here before we go. So first, we're gonna start off with a Christmas wish list for each team. So we're gonna go around. I'll start. We're just gonna say what should be on each team's wish list for the remainder of the season or off season. So for the Patriots, I have that they should wish for a Raiders loss and a win so that they can rest their guys against the Dolphins, because you never want to go into Miami needing a win because they've clearly had problems doing that in the past. And so that would just be a great thing that Santa could bring them. For the Celtics, it is a big double-digit win streak because they have started off the season slow. I mean, I know that's not a shocker. Obviously, they would wish for that. But they really just got to right the ship here. They got to go on a big hot streak, beat some good teams.
On the bright side, when they're healthy, they've played pretty well. So I don't know the exact record, but it's been promising.
They got to get on a big streak here, bottom line, contend for that 2 seed and make things interesting in the East. And for the Red Sox, you got to fire John Farrell. I know you just extended him, but you got to fire him. Just cut your losses, bring in someone else, Jim Leland, anybody. I hate John Farrell. Get him out of here. Joe, what's your wish list?
He's the worst.
For the Red Sox, I'm going to start off with the Red Sox. And I coined this phrase yesterday because it was actually a typo.
Spin tuition?
I coined this phrase yesterday, this nickname.
I really like that.
When I come up with these things on the spot. That's like my specialty. It's my forte.
Not to brag.
Not to brag at all. But it was a typo, and I'm like, that actually makes sense. To get rid of Pomeranz.
Oh,
good
one, man.
Yeah.
Put that in the
You
PowerPoint.
got him.
Pomeranz. I hate him. I've said it every single show since the Red Sox have traded for him. The moment we got him, I think it was July 14th. I was at Staples getting some school supplies, and I heard them. And I was getting out of the car, and I'm like,
What's
It
worse?
was on my birthday. It was July 14th.
Yep.
What's worse, school supplies or Drew
Pomeranz is the worst. Hate him. Hate him.
All right, what about other teams?
Boston Celtics. DeMarcus Cousins. I love you, DeMarcus Cousins, if you're listening.
Yeah, we said enough about him. And
Yeah.
what about the Patriots?
For the Patriots, it'd be for Rob Gronkowski to play in the Super Bowl.
So health.
Health, but and a return for Gronk, and to be more than you were in the Super Bowl 46. So that is my wish list.
I like that. Mark, what do you got?
All right. This one's been getting a little bit more praise over the last couple weeks, but for the Patriots, this offseason, I think the first thing they have to do is extend Martellus Bennett. I think for the last couple years now, he's really been the missing piece. Obviously, Gronkowski, very injury-prone, so having a capable tight end is very important. Bennett is more than capable in both the passing and the run game. And his addition to this team has really, it's done wonders for the run game. You're seeing LeGarrette Blount have a career year.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that credit's being given to Dante Scarnecchia, but Bennett deserves some too. And
Sure.
I think that he hasn't gotten what he's earned so far. And moving on, the Red Sox, to follow up what Tyler said, in John Farrell's absence, they got to get Jason Varitek in here to manage. He's been around the organization for a couple years now. Really, ever since he retired, he's kind of been involved in some way. I know right now he's doing something in the front office, and
He's golfing.
He makes perfect sense.
He's golfing.
He's a very smart guy. He knows the game inside and out. So
Yeah,
he's a capable manager.
I've met the guy. Didn't know it was him at the time, but I met Jason, and I did ask him if he was going to come to Boston, and he said to manage the team, and he goes, "Well, me and my buddy Johnny are real close, and I wouldn't want to take my buddy's job." But he said maybe. He told me maybe.
Oh, breaking news!
Wow.
Yeah, breaking news.
He told me maybe, and next year when I see him, I'll double check with him.
When
I'll
he
say-
is the manager,
Well,
you can be
probably.
Like,
You never know.
I'll-
You heard it here.
I'll
like,
talk to him. Maybe
first,
we can
maybe.
get him on. Maybe we can get him on. Do you have any more wishes?
Lastly here, Celtics. It's kind of what Joe said, but they have to do something, and they have to do something big right now if they want to even contend for a championship. Right now, they're in that good tier of teams, like like semifinals, like they should be there, maybe conference finals, but I mean there really is no chance they get to the finals unless there's a LeBron James injury. So, I mean, let's just face it, we all want them to be championship contenders, so go do something now, get a Cousins, get a Paul George, just do something. Just do something, that's all I ask.
All right, so I have a few wishes here and there. One of them is for the boys in Cleveland. I want them to get a win. I want them to get a win. I want the Browns to get a win. It's a bit of a stretch wish, but I have a lot of belief and hope for them. You never know what could happen.
That's maybe the most wild thing any of us have wished for.
Similar to Mark's hope for Jason, I'd like the Red Sox to hire Pedro Martinez as the pitching coach.
I like that.
That'd be kind of cool.
I have one question for Chris.
Yeah.
So currently, the San Francisco 49ers are 1-13. So would you want to have the Cleveland Browns win a game at the risk of getting the number 2 pick in the draft over the number 1 pick?
Yeah.
Really?
No, you can't go 0-16. That's embarrassing.
So you would rather not get the number 1 overall pick and go 1-15?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You can't go 0-16. That's
Tank,
embarrassing.
baby, tank.
The number 1 and number 2 pick really is
In the NFL, there's not a huge
Especially
difference.
this year when there really isn't like that one.
Yeah, there's no
franchise-altering
exactly.
guy.
Who
You
cares?
can't go
You
0-6.
can't
You can't
winless.
go 0-16.
That's terrible.
The Lions did that, what, in 08?
Yeah,
Then they
and
got
now-
Stafford.
And no one will ever
people
forget
still
that.
laugh at them.
No one
But they
will
got
ever
Matt
forget
Stafford.
that.
They got Matt Stafford.
How well has he done for them? I mean, he's,
he
he's a good quarterback.
He's won them 0 playoff games,
But
so
yeah.
That could change this year.
you never know.
So, and then I'm not really the biggest Celtics guy. That's what we have Will and Adam. But, I wish for the Celtics to just have a Merry Christmas.
All right,
And a Happy New Year.
the final Christmas segment. Who's getting coal for each team? So I'll start. Patriots, DJ Foster. My prediction about him, my first ever article, one of 2 articles I've written for the site, completely wrong. He was he didn't even play in Deion Lewis's absence. It was the James White show out of the
I
backfield.
think Lil Yachty commented on that article.
I remember that. I do remember that. But he was invisible. Now he's just a healthy scratch every game. So he should get called for making my prediction look ridiculous.
Come on, DJ.
Who's getting called for the Red Sox? John Farrell. I'm just going to go back and hammer him. I don't like him. He's a bad manager, bad in-game manager. Does nothing for me. Doesn't make a difference. For the Celtics, Mark's guy, James Young, 17th overall pick.
Blasphemous.
Had some
It
hype
makes no
coming out of
sense.
college as a freshman, very young. He's yet to make any type of impact on the professional
He's
team.
yet to be given a chance.
I mean,
Give
he's
the
given
guy
some
a
chances here and there. And
He plays like 6 minutes with literally his life on the line. Every time he takes the court, he'll dribble with his right hand. People be like, "Oh, he's so bad." And then when he has a good game, everyone's like, "Oh, I didn't see that game. I don't know what you're talking about." Like
exactly,
he gets
'cause
no
he always
credit.
plays against these
No,
scrub
hey,
teams.
He won that
don't
game.
matter.
He won that game against the Pacers earlier this year. You can say whatever you want to say, but his impact that game got them the win. Big win. Big win.
I don't know about that, but he should get
Big
called
win.
for his wasted.
He should get a
potential so
chance.
far.
He should get a chance for Christmas. That's all that I ask.
Joe, let's hear your list of coal.
So for the Patriots, I'm giving 2 big lumps of coal to 2 players. Cyrus Jones is one because he sucks, and my second one is to Rob Gronkowski. Man up. You're 6'7".
He doesn't have a back.
You're 6'7", 260 pounds.
He doesn't have
Play
a spine.
football.
His spine doesn't exist.
Joe, you cannot be serious.
Man up.
You're nuts.
He didn't.
He
stub
would
his toe.
play if he could.
No, because he's like,
He shouldn't have played against
Gordy,
the
I
Jets.
feel- he shouldn't have.
He shouldn't have played, but I mean, obviously he had a say, and he manned up, and now he's
football
out.
players
Now
play
he's
football.
out.
That's my thing.
Joe, he's herniated. That's
dead.
Play.
I saw this thing that said he could play.
He couldn't
did-
walk after his,
Yes, he
his
could.
surgery.
He didn't need to get surgery. They said
When he got hit by Earl Thomas, he couldn't feel any of his limbs.
they're saying that if he didn't get surgery, he could have played for the rest of the year. That's what I'm saying.
You're
Yeah,
a
but then he
psycho.
could have got
I actually
hurt.
haven't heard
He
that,
could have
so-
got hurt again. He could have got hurt
I
again,
don't wanna-
and then we could be saying Rob Gronkowski will never play football again.
I take a Super Bowl win and have him never play football again.
Maybe he
Oh,
gets
I
hurt
wouldn't.
before the Super Bowl.
He's
and we
like
don't even
paralyzed
That's
from
what
the
I'm saying.
waist down.
I'm saying don't get
You're
surgery and-
insane. You're just nuts.
Now I'm sorry.
Man
I want
up.
to. I want
Man up.
That's why I'll
Oh
take the.
my
I'll take the
Lord.
murderer if he can help me win a Super Bowl.
Oh my
All right, that's
goodness.
getting
All right,
cut out.
what about the
Okay,
Red
so-
Sox?
For the Red Sox, I have 2 lumps of coal too. To Dave Dombrowski for screwing our team, and to Ew Pomeranz because I hate him. I've spoken enough about it.
I think
Yep.
we've
John,
covered
what
that.
about the Celtics?
Danny Ainge, you get a lump of coal because you haven't done bleep. Oh.
Oh,
that
I
out.
bleep that
No,
out.
we're just- yeah,
Bleep
wow.
that out. Bleep
All right,
that
all
out.
right. Okay, they just bleeped out a profane
Wow.
word I used. But
You're making me do work. 49-36. Bleep that out. Okay.
Danny Ainge, you get a lump of coal because you haven't done anything. You accumulate assets, and then you have I think he has a legitimate chance to bring in a star player. He's had one, but he's like the opposite of Dave Dombrowski. Dave Dombrowski, will give everything away,
That's a good comparison.
and
I agree.
and Danny Ainge will give anything away. It's like meet somewhere in the middle. Like,
Can I record you saying the word bleep so I can just have that go in front?
bleep.
Okay, great. All right, Mark. Any Cole?
All right, just real quick, I just want to defend Dave Dombrowski because he's destroyed the farm system. I'll admit that, but he's made the major league team pretty good.
And you don't know what these prospects are going to turn out to be.
Joe, this is something.
I actually do.
Joe, this is something that he just left, so he's not going to be able to answer this.
Bye,
but
Joe.
something that I don't understand is Joe, especially other people, they get mad at a guy like Mauricio Dubon getting traded. Did you know who Mauricio Dubon
No,
was before
you
this
didn't.
trade?
You just read all these articles about
Do you
him. and
realize that Mauricio,
look up what he was
Mauricio
ranked.
Dubon's ceiling is just going to be like a utility infielder with a decent amount of speed?
Okay, but here's what I want to say. I've actually made these projections, and I want to say this. Drew Pomeranz, he's a left-handed Gavin Floyd. Tall, good size, average to below average stuff, high draft pick. He's a stiff. Anderson Espinoza, mark my words. Tim Lincecum. Electric, small, won't last very long, but he'll have a few great years.
But these aren't facts. That doesn't automatically make the
Michael
trade
Kopech,
bad.
Noah Syndergaard.
Where do you read
Yoan
these
Moncada.
from? Because you don't watch these players
my
play.
goodness.
I-
Wait, who'd you say is Noah Syndergaard?
Michael
Michael
Kopech.
Kopech.
He throws like 105. That's really the only comparison.
And he has-
he's long hair.
Okay. Okay. So
But that's my thing. And Moncada is Cano. That's so. I did hear the Cano and the Syndergaard thing from other places, but I did my original take is that Lincecum, that Anderson Espinoza will be Lincecum, and Moncada and Pomeranz.
Just to
is
throw
Gavin.
this out there, you know Espinoza was horrible this year, right? You know he was awful.
Not as bad as
Was he
Ew,
actually?
Pomeranz.
His ERA was almost 5. They were
Okay.
pretty close.
Ew,
And he was
Pomeranz.
playing. He was in high A ball. I don't know.
All right, Mark, let's hear your list of
moving
Cole.
on. I didn't really have one for the Patriots, you know? I'm a big Patriots guy.
Honk. Sunshine Day.
Go Bill. I'm not going to knock him. I mean, there's really nothing that just infuriated me too much. I would do Marcus Cannon, but, you know, I got to give him some credit.
He's played
He's
spectacular
been pretty
this year.
good. He's been pretty good. So moving on, the Red Sox. My guy, Pablo Sandoval. He didn't really do anything, but I'm just going to give him Cole anyway because I don't like him.
Don't give him any food. Eat it.
Apparently he's below
slimmed
like
down.
250, but I mean he lost some weight last year. Then you saw that picture in spring training. I don't want to do this rodeo again. I hate Pablo Sandoval, and yeah, there's really no explanation for it. I just don't like him. Then next up, the Celtics, Amir Johnson. Who, I mean, the
12
guy
mil.
is 6'10", 6'9", maybe whatever it is, making $12 million a year, and he's averaging like 4 rebounds. I mean, that's just absurd to me. And yeah, you know what? He deserves some coal this Christmas.
I agree. All right, I think that's it.
no, I got some.
Oh,
Right. I forgot about your list.
I just want to. Yeah, thanks, Tyler.
Christmas feelings.
I just
too.
want to say, if you're still tuned into us right now, you're a real loyal GTSM fan. It's been 53 minutes, 14 seconds. We're happy you're still listening. So, before I continue, I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and yada yada to everyone listening out there. I've got one system to give some coal to. Bama. All right, goodbye.